Hey everyone, Michael, PokeOz here. Today's video is all about what you must know about Pokemon investing. From beginners right through to experts in the Pokemon collecting / investing space and everything else in between, this video is going to be for you. In case you don't know, I've been around this hobby since its inception, so I feel like I've done the groundwork, the hard yards, and the years of blood, sweat and tears on your behalf. So I'm going to share with you some things that you must know if you're just getting into Pokemon investing, somewhere in the middle, just on the journey, or maybe a perceived expert on the topic. The first thing I want to share with you, we're going to jump straight into it today. The first thing I want to share with you is Pokemon investing is a grind. It's the old saying, is that like nothing's for free, okay? Everything needs work. And if you think that maybe because you've found your old collection of Pokemon cards in the attic that you're going to be super wealthy, or you've bought a couple of booster boxes that you're going to be set for life, you're probably going to be pretty sadly mistaken. And I've said this lots of times before, that Pokemon investing should just be the side hustle for you. It should be a very, very small portion of your total investment portfolio. If you want to go all in, by all means, go for it. Like if it's a business opportunity and that's the path you want to take, I'm not saying don't do that. But the general person working 9 to 5, we shouldn't be pouring all our spare income into Pokemon cards, okay? With that aside, either way, it's going to be a grind. It's going to take effort, it's going to take learning, it's going to take experience, and it's going to take time. And that leads me actually on to my second point, which I really need to hammer home, which is it takes time. I've talked before about the multiple ways that you could invest in Pokemon cards, whether it's buying collections and selling off as individual cards, whether it's buying sealed product and sitting on it over time, whether it's buying mint raw copies of cards, sending them away to get them graded, and then hoping to flip them for a profit if they return a PSA 9 or a PSA 10 or BGS or whatever grading service you tend to use. But you get the idea. There's heaps of ways you can make money throughout the Pokemon investing journey, but all of them will take time. Okay, let's look at a few, for example. If you're an eBay store and you're just getting started out, it's going to take time to build up your credibility. Okay, it's going to take time. And here's an example, right? I'm going to bring this up on the screen. This is currently in Australia. This is a cheap Fusion Strike booster box. And if you're literally a legit person, no offense, I'm not having a crack at you, but whoever or the person that is selling this booster box has zero eBay feedback. So a lot of people are going to look at this and go, that's under market price. It's too cheap. Well, it's not too cheap. It's only a touch under market price, but they have no feedback, so I'm not going to buy it. Or alternatively, is that a legit person that's thinking the only way to build up my credibility and get some sales and therefore get some feedback is to sell some things under market price? So that's probably something you might have to do. If you're just starting out in the journey, before you're building your reputation or your profile as a seller, you might well have to put auctions up. They might be going for under market price. You might have to list things buy it now for under market price. It takes time. I've been on eBay since I think 2010, so that's 14 years now. And I don't sell much anymore because life and work and everything else has got in the way a fair bit, but I used to sell a lot. I reckon I've sold maybe 1,500 plus items on eBay over the years. And I think I have about 540 feedback at 100%. So even if 1 in 3 people are giving you feedback, it's like to get 500 positive feedback, you're going to have to list 1,500 items. Like it's crazy as a seller. It's hard work. Same with if you're talking about taking time, is buying sealed booster boxes, okay? Or sealed Elite Trainer boxes, or any other sealed product. But I want to just focus on booster boxes for the time being, because personally I feel that's the best investment. But let's say you've bought a sealed booster box. Of course, there's going to be some capital gains. That's the whole idea behind buying it and investing. It wouldn't be an investment if you didn't plan on making money off it. So let's say, I'm just plucking numbers out of the air, but let's say you bought a Chilling Reign booster box for $100 US. And over time, it gets, after 5 years of inception, I'm just talking down the track, it gets to $350 US. So you've 3.5 times your money, or you've made $250 US profit on that and you think it's time to sell it. That whole process takes time. It's, gone are the days where people, and I never did this, but gone are the days where people were scalping products, and it's changed in the car industry as well. People aren't scalping cars anymore. You can't go buy a car and with no intention to drive it and then resell it for 10-20% markup like you used to. Same with Pokemon card products. You can't pre-order booster boxes of something and then mark them up 20-30%, even 50% or 100% in some cases above retail price and scalp them, make a profit off them. Okay, things take time. The whole journey takes time. Tip number 3, whatever you do, don't open your sealed product. There's not much more to this tip than that. One thing I've learnt over the years is just, man, I wish I didn't open so much sealed product. It was so hard when I was younger. Now I think I've got a bit more of an experienced head on my shoulder, but when I was younger, in my early 20s, in my late teens, in my mid-20s, if I bought boxes of EX Series booster boxes, like Crystal Guardians for argument's sake, Power Keepers, a lot of other EX era car sets, Diamond and Pearl booster boxes, even some early black and white booster boxes, I was just opening them. Imagine if I'd kept them all sealed. And the same thing can be said, and this links back to point number 2 with it takes time. People are saying, Fusion Strike, Chilling, Evolving Skies, Astral, Silver Tempest, Lost Origin, that they're just so mass printed and they're going to be around forever, and they're never going to go up in price because it's just printed to oblivion. But okay, the Pokemon company is not stupid. They're printing to demand. Okay, these things will go up and it will take time. Just sit on them and don't open them. Okay, the same thing used to happen, I guarantee you, because I was there in the hobby at the time. During the EX era, EX Power Keepers was on shelves 2 to 3 years after launch, and it was still $4.99 a booster pack in Australia. It was not selling. 3-pack blisters were marked down to $14.99. It was not a good set from the EX era. And now look at it. I don't know, what's a box going to cost you? Probably $10,000-12,000 US for a sealed booster box of EX Power Keepers, which is a weak set from the EX era. It'll go up. It will. Number 4, this is a really important one. Have fun with it. Okay? This is something you must know about Pokemon investing. You've got to have fun with it. It's not all about the investment side. Buy yourself some things to open from time to time. Have some fun with it. See what you can pull. Buy the singles you want to get. Open with your friends, with your family, with your kids if you've got them. Have fun. And the other part of having fun is stop checking the market every damn 5 minutes, because you will just frustrate the hell out of yourself. Okay, if you're someone that gets on the Collector app, if you're someone that gets on TCG Play, if you're someone forever checking sold listings on eBay, okay, just don't stress yourself out with that. Just let it sit, which links again back to point number 2, which is give things time. And finally, I think point number 5 from me of things you must know about Pokemon investing is you need to have an exit strategy, or don't. Now, those 2 points sound very counterintuitive, but what I mean is you don't always need to have an exit strategy. Okay, what's wrong with sitting on vintage? Because eventually, okay, Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet even, Sun and Moon will eventually become somewhat what they'll call modern vintage, where it'll be 10 years old, or it'll be 15 years old, it'll be 20 years old one day. What's so bad about having a modern vintage collection that could be worth, I don't know, $5,000 a booster box, or $3,000 a booster box, or $2,500 a booster box? So you don't always need to have an exit strategy, but if you are someone that's got some sort of a time frame around it, okay, I suggest you need to have an exit strategy, because I think eventually maybe some boxes will cap out, for lack of a better word, in that they probably hit a point where they'll stagnate for a long period of time. Okay, something like, I've got to be careful with some word choices here, or some box choices, but some sets will sort of, it feels like they'll hit a ceiling. And maybe I'm best not to name any sets, but if you think about something like just an unlimited jungle booster box, I feel like that hit a real peak, of course, through COVID, and it's struggling to hold on to the ceiling that it reached, and it's probably even dropped a little bit. I haven't looked at the data, but I imagine it would have dropped a little bit, okay, since COVID and all time, and it's really going to struggle to hang on to that ceiling. So it's like, you might have bought that box for a certain price that you thought was good, but it could just stagnate for 4 or 5 years and not even move and just struggle to hang on to the price point that was at. And same thing could happen to a modern box, okay? It could be you might have bought it at $100 and all of a sudden it gets to $1,000, but then it just hovers around that price for a long period of time, okay? Something like an XY Evolutions, that's been sitting, a lot of people said it would never go up, and it certainly has. So testament to the power of Pokemon, even if a set is hugely overprinted, even if a set has some negative discourse around it at its inception, it can still go up a lot. And a set like that is a good example because the last 3 years, it's pretty much been hovering around the same price. Okay, it took massive gains about 4 years ago at the start of COVID. But since then, about the last 2.5 to 3 years, it really hasn't moved all that much. It's hovered around, $800 a box, $1,000 a box, back down to 800, back up to 900, sort of hovered around that price point. So there you sort of have it, 5, I suppose, strategies, must-knows about the Pokemon investing hobby if you're going to get into it. Hopefully you've learned something from this video. As always, even if some of the content may feel like we're going over some things that we've said before, I always try and add some new tips inside it. So hopefully throughout the 10 to 15 minute videos, even if you're watching each and every one of my videos, so thanks if you do, hopefully you sort of learn something new or pick up some sort of new strategy along the way. I'm Michael, this is PokeOz, and I'll catch everyone next time.